Okay, for today what I'm going to do is I want to change this transmission mount. Alright, it's this one over here. I believe that this is sagging. The rubber has gone soft and sagged, and as you can see, this guide bolt over here, it's sagging quite a lot from here. So I'm going to measure now with a small caliper. What is the value? I think this is too much. When I look at some people who install new ones, it's about half of this distance from here to here. So I'm going to stop the camera for now and measure it. I've measured the distance between here and here. It's 14 millimeters, which is quite a lot. From what I can see from other people who install new ones, the gap is about 7 millimeters only, so that's about half of this. I cannot see how much is sagging over here because this mass damper is blocking it. So I plan to remove this mass damper, these two bolts here, loosen it and remove the mass damper, so I can have a look at this, how much this is sagging. Right? I've got the mass damper out, which looks like this, right? And I cannot really see how much is sag because this part of the cross member is blocking it. Alright, this part over here is blocking it. I cannot see the shape and how much is going down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure a portion, let's say somewhere here, and the distance from here. Alright, and I'm going to compare it against the new when I put in the new mount. This is a speed sensor, digital speed sensor. So while I have this symbol, I'm going to one shot clean the speed sensor and put in some new dielectric grease, because it's been 5 years since I done that. So I'm going to support the transmission now first over here with something that's wide, like like a scissor leaf, and then I'm going to loosen all these bolts. I need to remove this cross member, then I can have access to these bolts over here on the side, which is very difficult to access. Got a scissor leaf underneath the pan for the automatic transmission with just a little bit of tension, not too much, just a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is going to loosen these bolts first, remove all these 4 bolts, and then remove these 4 bolts so that I can separate this cross member while leaving this mount still intact. Then I can access these bolts over here. The cross member removed, you can see how close this is right now. This definitely sagged a lot. That distance is like, my guess will be 4 millimeters left. So definitely needs to be changed. The rubber itself looks okay. It's not separated, but I think it's definitely sagged. As you can see from these markings over here, it's distorted, stretched and distorted. So next thing I'm going to do is remove these 4 bolts. Now I have access to them, and then let's have a comparison with the new parts. Okay, because the rubber has sagged, what happened is this part is very close to the bolt over here. So what I did is I put a screwdriver in here to pull this part down and then force the socket inside here, so I can have access to loosen this bolt. So now I'm going to put the L bar in here and a pipe and loosen it. A bright idea came to me. I used a pair of vice grips to clamp so that the mount will come downwards, and now I have just enough space to put in the socket to loosen the bolts. Okay, I had to remove the speed sensor because it's getting in the way of this bolt, but I did plan to refurbish this speed sensor anyway, so it's something that I need to do. So now I need to disconnect the speed sensor from inside the engine bay, and I can pull this out and open this and grease this again. Alright, now I got the bracket out. As you can see, it's now free and the bracket is here. Alright, take note of the orientation. This is forwards and rearwards as what you see. Right, the forward is this is the front and this is the rear. So the new one need to be installed in the same orientation. right? Okay, let's have a really close look at the original part. As you can see from here, there are some cracks. Okay, let me zoom out. There are some cracks on the rubber here, so that's the cause of the sagging, right? So cracks over there, you see that? So definitely time to change. But I mean, it hasn't separated yet, it's still intact, so it's very good for a part that's 34 years old. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to compare this against the new parts I bought. I tried Anchor and Westar. Okay, so both of these are from Rock Auto. This costs about $8 and this costs $19. So let's have a look at them. Alright, this looks like identical to the original, except here the original uses a threaded bolt, right, with a nut, and this one uses a rivet. Okay? And I've checked the softness of this rubber. This is actually quite soft. It's actually, I can press this with two hands, right, and I managed to move it around 5 mm just with my hands. So I don't know whether this is good or not. And but one thing I found, that the thickness is almost identical to the original. It's thick over here, alright, compared to the Westar. The Westar is double the price and made differently, and this rubber is very hard compared to this one. This is soft. This is very hard that I could hardly press this. And you notice here, this metal over here is very thin compared to the OEM and to the Anchor. So there are certain things that are made better on this and certain things made better on this compared to each other. And there's an extra welded piece over here. I don't know why. I guess this is the later design, and the Anchor one follows the older design. Alright. When I try to press this with my hands, this bracket, I can actually deflect a little bit. I can feel it. Compared to this one, it doesn't deflect. So I'm leaning more towards using the Anchor one for now. So I'm going to install Anchor one, and I'm going to see how much it deflects when I let the gearbox go from the scissor lift. I'm hoping to find around 6 to 8 mm of deflection, and then that is okay. If I can get that much, then I'm going to go ahead with this. If not, I'm going to install a Westar. Okay, a piece of advice: since these are very cheaply made parts, it's advisable to run the bolt through all the holes here, just to make sure that it's easy to install once you get it on the car. Alright, so do it like this, right? Just run it through and then remove the bolt, and you can see here the distance. This is the collapsed old mount. Distance is very close. I can hardly put my finger in here, and this distance is quite a lot. Alright, so that's the difference there. And I'm going to proceed to install this one. Okay, I did a comparison of the thickness. I measured with the caliper, right? The thickness of the original over here is 6 millimeters. The Anchor is also 6 millimeters, and the Westar is 3 millimeter over here. So that's why I can feel some flexing over here. I don't know why Westar made it that way, and also the rubber seems to be too hard, in my opinion. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and install the Anchor. Since I have this bracket out here, let's just have a close look at it so you know how it looks like. Right, it's a stamp plate with a stamp and welded with two different plates, U shape. So this is the bottom part, and this is the top part. Alright, so this is how the mount will sit in here. Alright, that's why you cannot see, I cannot see this area over here from underneath the car. Alright, so okay, I'm gonna start installing this now, and I'm gonna put the speed sensor in later. Right, this was a massive waste of time. Both the Westar and the Anchor mount does not fit the angle, the V-shaped angle over here, and the hole distance, both the distance this way and upwards are not the same with the OEM. Alright, the OEM one fits perfectly, but this one does not. And same with the anchor, this angle is off. So it's possible to drill a bigger hole here, but I'm not going to bother because I don't want to spend so much energy on this. I'm just going to order the Toyota part. I didn't know there was a Toyota still make the part for this, because they make it with the old part number, which is 12371-42020. I wanted to get 12371-70020, but that was not available. So since the old part number is available, I'm going to order the Toyota one and going to initiate a return to Rock Auto. So for now, the car can't be driven. Okay, let's forget about these two, and I'm going to work on the speed sensor. I remove the speed sensor. I'm going to grease the speed sensor inside with super loop. Alright, so I'm going to take it apart with these 3 screws here. That's normal. This is just a key and a shaft. Right. Yeah, I took apart the speed sensor, especially the bottom part. This is a little confusing. You can see this nut here. You cannot remove this nut from the housing. This is a 27mm. Alright, you need to stop this nut from turning, and you need to turn this in tightly. Alright, so probably you need a vice grip plier and a cloth over here to turn it, and this slot need to face this side here, alright, away from the wire. So once I took this out, I noticed that the oil seal inside here is disintegrated. It's supposed to guide this shaft over here. As you can see, it's so loose because that part is gone. I need to replace this oil seal. I'm going to clean the inside here. It's dirty, and yeah, I wait for the oil seal to come. To remove this, you need to remove these 3 screws and pull back this. You need to uncrimp this, right, and pull this back so you don't have to bend the wires, and then you can remove this top. Okay, inside here there's a pin and a spring. Don't lose it. Alright, and you need to remove this and grease the magnet. It's a bit tight. It's easier if you remove these 2 screws and take out the speed sensor. Right, and then grease all this around, grease the shaft, but don't grease inside here, because this is airtight, and if you have too much grease in here, you cannot put this cover on. Okay, so remove the hall sensor over here. Alright, and this is the magnet, rotating magnet. Again, don't lose the spring in there, don't lose it. And this is how it looks like inside, basically a bushing. So I'm going to grease the in between there, the shaft over here, and put it back inside. Yeah, I finally got my speedometer seal, the brand new one. Right, it's basically just like this. And I found out that the real speedometer seal is actually inside here. Okay, it's down there, and I tried to remove it with the screwdriver and couldn't. It just wouldn't come off. It's too tight in there. What I found out is this seal above it is actually just the seal in between here. It doesn't stop oil from getting in. So this is just like to make sure this doesn't come loose. Alright, so this different thing. So now I need to take this out, and I'm going to use a gas torch to burn this seal off. Don't forget to remove the O-ring over here, because you don't want the O-ring to melt. Right, so I'm going to proceed to burn this out and remove this. Okay, the torch worked like a charm. The seal came off in one chunk. I had to use a screwdriver to pry it. So now I'm going to cool this down, and then clean the insides and put in a new seal with my last finger over here. Just push it in, grease it first. See from inside here, there's some scratches, but not going to affect the function, and it's clean now. So I'm going to proceed to put in the new oil seal. First I'm going to put some super loop grease over it and then slide it in with my finger. In the original seal, so I need 2 weeks to get a new Toyota seal, so I have no choice but to buy a off-the-shelf seal like this. The problem is it's a little bit smaller than the housing. The housing is about 15.5 mm inside, right? And the seal, this seal is 15 mm, so it's a bit loose. So what I did is I put a little bit of RTV silicone, right? I put it inside there and then I push the seal inside with this small socket, right? And I use the speedometer shaft to center the seal while it cures. So I'm going to leave this for about 1 hour. When it cures, I can remove it and grease the seal, and I can use this for a few months temporarily until I get a new Toyota seal. And I'm going to use a special tool to push in the new seal, because it's very easy to destroy the new seal without a special tool. 3 weeks later, I've got a new OEM part, right? As you can see from the original 34-year-old part, it is completely collapsed and it doesn't spring back at all. It's almost touching here, and this one is there's a gap. So it's supposed to be this way. When you put in the transmission, it's supposed to collapse about half of this, and so that it can spring back up and down. So now I'm going to first install the speed sensor, alright, the rebuilt speed sensor, and then route the wire properly, and then only put back this mount. Got the speedometer sender in here, and you can notice that this slot over here is facing to the back here. The reason is so that I can install this lock plate. This lock plate will stop. It has two functions. Is to prevent this speedometer sensor from turning, and also to prevent it from coming out. So now I'm going to install this and tighten this nut, this bolt I mean. Done. I've tightened the 4 bolts on the side and on this exhaust bracket on shot, and now I'm going to put in the cross member and check this height whether I have the cross member can tighten to this. If not, I have to push up the gearbox a little bit. Okay, I've got the 4 bolts in, but as you can see, the bracket is not touching the undercarriage. So because of that, I'm gonna need to use the scissor lift and bring this gearbox up until this surface touches. Alright. Then okay, the ground wire is tightened in, and all the bolts are tight. So now I can let go of the scissor lift, and let's see how much this will sag. Right, they should sag about 7 mm. Okay, the mass dampener is in, and as you can see, the distance is greater than before. Before it was closer to the gearbox, now it's further. It's because the gearbox is now moved to where it's supposed to be. Alright, so it's done. Yeah, I can drive the car. Just put it down, and that's it.